Okay. So as a reference that we have taken, that it is
This
proposing here.
conference will now be recorded.
Yes. So when it is taking the reference, we can able to select the purchase requisitions for which we want to send this RFQ here. So I'm selecting this purchase requisition and click on adapt plus details. When you click on adapt plus details, then it will ask you to change the delivery date here. It is because our quotation deadline is 20th. Your delivery date must be after the quotation deadline date here. So maybe you are requesting the material on 31st. Okay. So the material and the quantity and everything will get copied from the purchase requisition. If you create directly here, then what is going to happen? You have to enter the material number and the quantity and also the plant and purchasing organization and everything here. So now you are going to send this request to the vendors here. Just you select this vendor button here and provide the vendor for whom you want to, you are going to, or the business is going to ask to send the quotations here. Yes. Yeah. The RFQ document is created in the number 156 here. So like this way, you can able to send to multiple vendors here. So this is what we have discussed in the last session also. So once the RFQs are created, then you're going to maintain the quotations for this RFQs which we receive in the quotation. ME47 will maintain and ME49 will compare. And in the comparison, we are going to see who is the giving the best price for the material. And for that price only that we are going to fix and we are going to raise the purchase order. Okay. So what is happening here? Let me explain here. So in any standard procurement process, if you see, first of all, the procurement process is going to be starts from PR, purchase requisition. So this purchase requisition is generated for your internal purpose. Okay. For internal analysis purpose, saying that what is the material and how much is the quantity is required here, for example. And once this request X material 100 quantities are required, then we have so multiple vendors who can supply this X material. So what we are trying to do, we are going to raise with reference to this PR itself. We are going to raise an RFQ, asking the vendors to send their quotations here from multiple vendors. So once we receive the quotations from the multiple vendors, then we are going to maintain those quotations in the system. And these quotations, what we are going to do, we'll compare the price between the quotations here. And from this, we are going to select one of the best vendor who is giving the best price. And for this vendor, we are going to raise the purchase order. We are going to raise the purchase order here. So this purchase order is a legal document. Okay, it is a legal document. So that means what this purchase order is going to be raised on the vendor to provide the material for the required quantity here. So this purchase order is a legal document. It is generated externally. Okay, it is for external purpose. But the PR is generated for internal purpose, for your internal analysis of your business, to know what is the material and how much is the requirement that is being generated in each and every month here, or month wise, or quarter wise, or half yearly wise, or yearly wise, to analyze the business with respect to that material. You are generating this PR, internal purpose, but PO is external, that is getting generated on the vendor here. Like how the PR as well as RFQ or quotations and compare, all these will come into the purchasing process. Okay. So all these are going to be coming into the purchasing process. So in the purchasing process, only purchasing process here to purchase the raw material from the vendor here. So all these purchasing process, whatever the transactions that we generate, that are getting stored to documents, right? That are getting stored to documents. These documents will have two parts, that is header and item level, right? Header and item level. So this header level data is something like your enterprise structure data and your vendor data. And item level data is specific to that item that is coming from your material master data. Okay. From the material master data, the item data will get it. So in order to record the purchase order also, this recording of this purchase order transaction in the SAP system is going to be executed or run by a document type here. Okay, so like how we have the document type for purchase requisition as well as for RFQ, in the same way, the PO is also going to have a documented type through which that we are going to control or we are going to record the transaction of purchase order here. So the standard document type for purchase order is NB. NB is for standard purchase order. Okay. And we have one more document type that is UB. UB is for STO process. STO means stock transport order process. For STO, we have the document type as UB. And for standard procurement process, we have NB. So we can also, in order to record a transaction in the purchasing for the creation of the purchase order, we can also create these document types in recording different kind of the transactions here. That means we can able to create for import, okay, for import vendors one document type, for export one document type. So what is going to happen here? So the import kind of the goods for the vendors within domestic, okay, within the country, domestic vendors, one document type. So that means the orders which are raised for the domestic vendors are going to be recorded in the SAP system using one document type. For the foreign vendors who are out of the country, okay, for these vendors are going to be recorded by one more document type. So that what you're going to see, you can analyze it. You can analyze that how many purchase orders are raising for the domestic vendors, how many purchase orders that are raising for the foreign vendors. It is because the purchase order is going to, or the document type is going to control the number range. Okay, the number range. So it may be internal or external. And also it is going to control the field selection, which means what are the fields which are mandatory, what are the fields which are optional to enter by the user. So these two things are going to be controlled by every document type. That may be PR or RFQ or PO. So using the number range that we can able to analyze that if you create one document type for the domestic vendors, so then that document type will have a one number range so that the within that number range how many transactions we raised. So those transactions are going to be analyze it. We can analyze and we can able to get how many we are raising for domestic, how many we are raising for foreign vendors. So how to create a document type for the purchase order and what kind of the configurations that we require. That is number range is one configuration and field selection key is one more configuration that we have to do in order to define the documented type in the SAP system here. So now we are going to see where exactly we are going to define this one. SPRO. Oh, so SPRO, and we'll go for MM. In MM we have purchasing. In purchasing we have the purchase order here. So now click on this purchase order, and first it requires the number ranges here. So to know the T code for this navigation which we open, go to additional information, display key, IMG activity. Then it will update this display by providing the additional information here. This additional information will have the T code, transaction code to reach to this navigation. OMY6, that is the T code to define the number ranges for the purchase order. Just select and click on intervals and look at the free interval which is available, and that you create here. I think we have created. Okay. So we are going to add one more after 300 here. So for example, YN 3012 500. I'm going for 3012 500. This is the number range that I'm defining as an internal number range. It is because I'm not selected this external checkbox here. If you select this external checkbox, then it is an external number range. So we have to provide a number between this number range while recording the transaction of purchase order in the SAP system. So now we are defining the number range as internal number range YN. And after defining the number range, we have to configure the document types here. So OMEC is the T code to define the document types for the purchase order here. Now when you open here, the standard document types for purchase order is NB. NB is the standard PO, and you have one more UB. UB is for stock transport order. Okay, these two are the document types that we are going to define that are available in the SAP system to make use of them to record the transaction of purchase order in the SAP system. So whenever we want to create our own purchase order document type, then select the standard one and click on copy as and give a new name, for example YNNB, and it is not standard PO, it is for Nestle PO. Nestle purchase order. And here you have to assign the number range here. What is the number range we define here? The number range which we have defined is YN. And just you press enter and click on copy all, enter, and save it. So we have created one document type YN and B to record the transaction of purchase order in the SAP system, which is having the number range of YN. This YN is having the range of numbers from 301 to 500. Once you define the document type, then this document type will also control the screen layout at a document level, which means the field selection key. The standard field selection key is NBF. You can see that is the standard field selection key for purchase order. So select this one and click on details. Here you can see what are the fields which are going to be required entries, optional entries, and display while recording the transaction of purchase order using the document type YNNB which we have created. So in order to create our own field selection key, just select this field selection key and copy as and give a new name YNNF, for example, purchase order for Nestle, and save it. So this we have to assign the field selection key to the document type so that whatever the changes that we did for the fields in the field selection key, those changes are going to be applicable for the document type which we are going to assign here. Where we are going to assign here, we have the field selection key. Here we are going for YNNF. This is the field selection key which we define here. Now save it. So these are the configurations that we require to do in order to record the transaction of purchase order in the SAP system. So once we done the configuration, then we are going to execute that transaction, that is purchase order, using the document type YNND here. For that, in the easy access screen, go to logistics, MM, purchasing, purchase order. Here you see create ME21N. ME21N is the T code to record or to create the purchase order in the SAP system. Just click on here, and we can also create this purchase order directly, or we can also create the purchase order with reference to purchase requisition also, or with reference to RFQ also we can able to create it. With reference to RFQ, we can create a purchase order. With reference to purchase requisition also, we can create the purchase order here. So first of all, we try to understand how to create a purchase order directly. Then we are going to see how to create a purchase order with reference to PR as well as RFQ. The very first, we have to select the document type. What is the document type we created here? We have created a Nestle PO. Yeah, so here you have Nestle PO. So once you selected this document type here, system automatically asks you to enter the mandatory fields which we have selected in the field selection key. So it is asking to enter the purchasing organization. What is the purchasing organization which we are having? 3435 here. And purchasing group N12 and company code which is 3435. Once you enter this, again it is going to ask to provide the vendor, because the purchase order is raised on the vendor only. So vendor is the mandatory in purchase order. But in PR, vendor is not mandatory here. In PR, we just knowing that what is the material and how much is the quantity that is required. That's it. But in PO, the vendor is mandatory. So who is the vendor here? 300800. He is the vendor for whom we are raising a order for the material. Once you enter all this information, just click on expand this item overview here. So here you have to enter the material 500643. This is the material, and how much is the quantity that you require. For example, 20. And what is the price? The price you are not entering here. And once you press enter, it is going to ask you to enter the plant here. Okay, for which plant this material we are making an order here. So because plant is a mandatory field in the field selection field. And also it is asking the storage location. What is the storage location? 0001, for example. Okay, so here you can see order quantity below minimum order quantity 25 BL from info required. Okay, We have maintained the info record with the material 500643 with the vendor information 300800. I can able to show you here what is the info record. Info record, to change the info record, go to M12, vendor and material and purchasing organization, plant and info record. Okay. Here, if you observe here, what is the minimum quantity we specified here? 25. So, but while raising the order, we have raising the order for 20 quantity. So that is the reason, and warning message is going to be displayed here. There is order quantity below minimum order quantity 25 bags from info record. So it is just a warning message. We can move further. If it is an error message, then we cannot move further here. So what once this message comes, then the purchasing executive who is creating this purchase order, or the senior purchasing officer who is generating this purchase order, what he is going to say, he is going to ask the vendor that whether he can accept 20 bags order or not. Because that vendor only accepts if the minimum quantity is reached to 25. So then if he accepts, then we will move further. Otherwise, if he not accepting, then we go for changing of the quantity here. Now you can see there is no warning message. And here if you see, I have not, as a user, we have not entered any price over here, but the system is picked this price here. How? It is because we have maintained the price in the info record. See here, this is the price we have maintained. So this price is going to be picked. Okay, it is picking up from the info record. So that is what I said while defining the info record. I said that the system always picks the data from the info record if exists. If info record is not existed, then it will go to the vendor master data. And if vendor master, and then it will go to the material master data. So in the same sequence, in that sequence only, the system is going to search for the data, and it is going to be determined in the purchasing documents like PR or PO or RFQ or anywhere that you see. Once you define all this information, this material item, whatever the material that we have entered here, this material information is going to be determined in all these tabs. And most importantly, in the purchase order, the pricing is mandatory here. That means the pricing is going to be happen in the purchase order. But in purchase requisition, there is no pricing. It is just to know the requirement of the material here. What is our standard procurement process? First, we need to determine the requirement of the material. Then we need to find the supplier or vendor who is going to supply the material. Then we are going to pick one of the vendor from among the vendors, and for them we are going to generate a purchase order. So in the material data, you can see the material group and all this information is coming from info, coming from the material master data. And here you see info update is already being checked. So this info update is also going to be, that is the reason only the info record is determined here. You can see the info record number. This is the number. You can see this is the number, and it's the same info record that you can observe here. This is the info record number. Okay, so info record is going to be determined automatically in the purchase order when we enter the material with the vendor. So that update from the info record only, the update of this data has been determined in the purchase order. So quantities and weights, 25 bags, and here you can see this is the net weight, gross weight, and what is the total net weight and gross weight. This is all the information that is determined from the material master data. Delivery schedule, it is determined the delivery date as 23 here. And today is 15, but it is determined the delivery date as 23 here. So why? Because in the info record, if you see what is the planned delivery time, 6 days. In between that, today is a holiday. Okay. So that is the reason it is taken 6 days to deliver the goods. That means the vendor is going to deliver the goods once he receive the order for 6 days. Okay, so that means the vendor will take 6 days of time to deliver the goods. That is what it is determined completely here due to some holidays and everything. And the delivery here, what is the under delivery, over delivery, and reminders and planned delivery time and goods receipt to processing time. All these information has been determined in the purchase order from the material master data and vendor master data. And here you see the most important thing is the stock type. So the stock type defines in which stock, okay, what is the different kinds of the stocks are going to be there in the plant level here. So some are going to be quality inspection stock, okay, unrestricted usage stock, reserved stock, blocked stock, transit stock. So there are different types of the stocks are going to be maintained at a plant level here. So what is the stock type? That means if the vendor confirms this order, then whatever the goods or materials, the quantity that the vendor is going to supply to a business, where that materials should be placed. And that means in which stock type of these materials to get posted. So mostly we are going to see unrestricted user stock. It is because unrestricted user stock is the stock which can be used for any kind of the purpose. We can also post to directly to quality inspection stock, or we can also post to blocked stock also. Blocked stock is nothing but which is blocking for some production orders or for the sales orders here. So any kind of the stock that you can able to post it. But by default, the system is going to pick the stock type as unrestricted user stock. And in the invoice, whether it is relevant for invoice receipt and goods receipt based invoice here. So this is also that has been checked over here in the info record. So that is the reason automatically in the purchase order also that checkbox is checked here, which means this purchase order, this material which we have entered, that material is relevant for the receiving, moving of the stocks, and we need to receive the goods. The business needs to receive the goods. Once the goods receipt is posted in the system, then only it is relevant for the invoice. Okay, so that is what we are specifying here. And in the conditions tab, when you open, these are all the price of the material and the discount that the vendor is providing us. This discount is also coming from the info record only. So in the info record, you go to the conditions tab here. Here you can see, okay, so here you can see the price as well as discount. So this we have already maintained in the info record. From this only, the system is determining the price as well as discount to your purchase order here. And in the text, if you write any kind of the text that will be carried forward here, and the delivery address is going to be your plant. The plant location is going to be the delivery address here. And confirmations whether it is blocked or order acknowledgement required. Acknowledgement is required here. It is also getting copied from your vendor master data only. If you see here from the vendor master purchasing organization data, here it is there acknowledgement required. It is already been checked here. So the same information is getting copied to purchase order here. And so it is in the condition control, you can see print price, which means the kind of the communication that is happens between the business and vendor, like printing the output to a paper and sending to the vendor, or through the email, or through the fax, or through the telex. So what kind of the communication that the business is doing with the vendor? That communication, in that communication, whether to print the price of the material or not, that is going to be controlled over here. So these are all the information that is coming or determining from the material master data to this item. Once the all the information is getting copied, now we have to click on check here. So here it is giving no message generated for output of purchasing document. So what we have to do, that means output must be generated either to print or to send as a mail or to send as a fax or telex here. For that, click on this messages button, and here to send the output, that means to send the print or fax or email to the vendor, in the SAP system we have the output type. The standard output type here is NEU, and in which medium that you want to send. Any one of these you can able to send. But now we're going for print output. And the function means the partner function which is allowed for this vendor. VN is the main vendor, and in which language that we want to send the print, that you have to specify here. And click on communication method. Here you have to provide the local printer, which is a default print device that is defined in the SAP system in order to perform this type of the transaction in the training purpose. But in generally in the real time, while you work in the organization, how many printers are going to be there? All those printers are going to be defined as output devices by the basis consultants. Basis consultants are the system administrators there. So we have to select the relevant output device to which we want to send this print output. But here, for our practice purpose, for our doing the training purpose, we go for LP01. And just click on back here, and now you select the checkbox. Now you see the message as no message issued during check. That means everything entered in this purchase order is correct, and no field is missing here, so we can able to save this purchase order here. We can also see the preview of this purchase order by selecting this print preview. So this is the way that the output is going to be sent, either mail or fax or through the print. This is the way that the purchase order is going to be sent to this vendor here. So the vendor name and the location and the fax number, VAT registration number, okay, delivery date, terms of delivery, in which currency that we are doing, and what is the total net value, tax, everything that it is going to be determined here. And this is the way that the purchase order is going to be sent to the vendor through the telex or fax or email or print. Okay. So once it is done, now you can able to save the purchase order here. So once you save the purchase order, it is automatically will select the number which we have assigned for this purchase order. So we have defined the number from 301 to 500. So the very first purchase order we created, that is going to be given as 301. Yes, Robert, are you following me?
Yes, yes, I am. Very interesting. Yep.
Yes, yes, yes. That's good. That's good.
Yep.
That is
No
good.
problem.
Yeah. So, sorry, sorry. Okay. Yeah. So this is the way that we are going to record the purchase order in the SAP system. This is which we are creating directly from the directly we are creating the purchase order. That means in any organization, if you see, there may be a transactions may start from the PR, and the same way that the transactions may happen. Or in some of the clients, you can see that procurement process starts from the purchase order only. In that case, we are going to directly create a purchase order, and we are going to sending the purchase order to the vendor. Or in some of the organizations, if you see, the procurement process okay, may starts from purchase requisition, okay, and after purchase requisition, immediately the purchase order. It is also one of the purchasing process. Or in some of the organizations, some of the clients may start PR, then RFQ, then PO. So this is also one more way of executing the purchase orders here. So now we are going to see how to create a purchase order with reference to purchase requisition. So in that case, we have to go to here in the same T code. Here you have selection variant. Okay, in the selection variant, you can able to select the preceding document. That means the reference document that we want to use it in order to create this purchase order. So here you can able to create the purchase order with reference to purchase requisitions and RFQs and contracts and agreements also. So now we are trying to create a purchase order with reference to purchase requisitions. So just click on here purchase requisition, and here it provides the selection criteria. You can able to select here.
Excuse me,
Yes,
Rob.
yes, sir.
Can you enlarge your screen?
Yeah,
Can you make your screen larger?
you are not able to see.
Small. Something happened a while ago. The screen got smaller.
Screen gets smaller. No. So
Uh,
just now you are viewing like that, or from the starting of the session itself you are viewing like that.
no, it just got like this. Maybe a 30 seconds.
Yeah. So you are in the screen of you are able to view the screen of create purchase order only, right?
Yeah, I can see, but it's small.
Very small. Why?
Yeah, it's smaller than it was.
No, no, no,
Can you expand your screen or no?
no, no, no. So it is full. Okay, full screen. I'm showing.
Yeah. Huh. Well,
Yeah.
something happened. Let's see.
So not like that. It's a full screen. Hmm?
Okay, never mind. I got it. I made it a little larger on my side. Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, yeah. So
Carry
now,
on. Carry on.
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. Okay. So we are creating the purchase order with reference to the purchase requisitions here. Go to this selection variant here and click on this purchase requisitions. It will give you some selections. That means you can able to select the purchase requisitions based on these fields. So in this, you need to select any one of the field. Either you can search by material, or by plant, or by vendor wise, or by purchasing group wise, like that. That means only one selection that you have to make it out. With that one selection, you have to search for the documents here. I'm going for the material number here, 500643. With this selection, I'm trying to find out that how many purchase requisitions are there for this material. So if you execute here, then it will show these are the purchase requisitions which we have created. So for these purchase requisitions, what I'm trying to do, I'm going to create a purchase order. So to create a purchase order, first select the purchase order document, type here. Now just drag it this one and drop it in this basket. Okay. Select the purchase requisition and drag it and drop it in the basket. So when you drop it, automatically the system is going to determine the material, the quantity, and every information that is going to be determined from the purchase requisition to the purchase order. So here the mandatory data which we have to enter is the purchasing organization and the vendor for whom we want to raise this purchase order. So it is just giving the order quantity is below minimum order quantity 25 bag. I can go for 25. Okay, statistical delivery date is in the past, so which means 12/7 it is defining here. So yeah, so change the delivery date here. Yes. Okay. So how to create a purchase order with reference to purchase requisition here? You have to select through the selection variant, find out the purchase requisition and select that purchase requisition and drag it and drop it in this basket, so that the system will automatically determine all the purchasing group, company code, material, quantity, and everything. What we need to enter here, we have to enter the purchasing organization and vendor only. And one more way of creating the purchase order with reference to purchase requisition is, I'm going for the T code ME21N here. So I'm selecting my purchasing document, and in the item overview, if you drag it like this, you can see purchase requisition. Here, search for the purchase requisition through the material number or by the plant or something like that. Material number here, and select here and select the purchase requisition for which we want to create a purchase order. And just you press enter, automatically the system is going to determine all the values. See here, everything is going to be determined here. And vendor, these are all the mandatory fields which you have to enter. When referencing, please also enter the requisition item number. Okay, so for which plant you want to determine. So here you have to enter the purchase requisition and also the requisition item also. So in that purchase requisition you may have, okay, you may have something like item numbers like item number 10, 20, 30, 40, like that. You may have multiple materials that are going to be there in a purchase requisition. We have to enter, if it is having multiple materials, then it will ask what is the material that you want to ask. You want to send the purchase order. For example, I'm going for 20. Automatically, it will determine one more material here. See here. Okay. So here we have to enter the price here. It is because we have the info record with this material and for this vendor only. But for this material and with this vendor, there is no info record maintained. So what is the price the vendor is going to provide us for this material? That price we are going to enter here. For example, 450. TB 00 and give the price of the material here. Okay, so that will be taken care of. So and just change the price of the material, that is delivery dates of the material. Okay, so here the only the problem is yeah. So this is for one more product here. Only the problem here is the order quantity is minimum below the minimum quantity. That is only the problem. So like this, you can able to enter the create a purchase order with reference to purchase requisition. Now go to the messages and provide the output type, medium, and language and vendor, and just go to the communication method, provide the output device, and click on back and see the print preview here. Okay, here you can see two materials, and totally this is the price to be paid for the vendor here. So now you say the check it, no message issued during check, and save the purchase order. Then one more number is going to be generated for this purchase order, that is 302. So this is the way that we are going to create the purchase order with reference to purchase requisition. If we want to create a purchase order with reference to RFQ, so then just go to here and select for request for quotations here, and for this vendor or for this purchasing document, for this vendor, how many RFQs that we generated. We are looking at for that. These many RFQs we have generated here. We are going for one of the RFQ, okay, and drag it and drop it in this basket. Automatically the system will determine the vendor also here. See here. Vendor also determined here. Why? Because in the request for quotation, we have maintained the purchasing organization, vendor, plant, and everything. Okay, everything that we have maintained in the RQ. So that is the reason it is being determining all the values here. Now you check it, only you will get the message as no message generated for output purchasing document. How to maintain the output here? Go to the messages and maintain the output type and language and media. Through that we are going to create a purchase order with reference to RFQ. So the difference that you have found here, when we are creating directly the PO, then we have the user needs to enter each and everything completely. If we create the PO with reference to purchase requisition, then the user no need to enter anything. He has to enter only the purchasing organization and vendor. And if the user is trying to create a purchase order with reference to RFQ, then just select the RFQ and drop it in the basket. System will automatically determine vendor, price, and everything will get determined from the RFQ only. According to the RFQ only, the delivery date is also going to be determined. Then the delivery date is also going to be determined from the RFQ only, because in the RFQ we have maintained the delivery date. That delivery date will be carried forward to the purchase order. And go to the messages here and maintain all the information in which language that you have to maintain, you have to send the output to the vendor. You want to communicate to the vendor, and just check the document. No message issued during check, and save the purchase order. Now one more number is generated with the 303. Are you following me, Robert?
Yes, I'm following. Yep,
Yes. Okay.
sure am.
Yeah. Okay. So what you need to do is you have to do some good hands-on with creating from the PR to PO. Okay. These are all the transactions that are involved in purchasing process here. Okay. So we have to go from here to here. So that is creating the purchase requisition, and then with reference to this, you create an RFQ, and then you have to maintain the quotations here. And once the quotations are maintained, then compare the quotations, and then raise the purchase order. Raise the purchase order on a vendor, either from reference from PR or RFQ. In both ways that we can able to generate the purchase order, or we can also create the purchase order directly. Okay, so this is the way that you have to do some hands-on with this purchasing. Yes, Robert, you have any questions?
Yes, that's good.
Yeah.
Can you please send me these recorded sessions?
Actually, I'm trying. I don't know how to send it. It has been recording, but where it is saving, I am not getting.
Yeah, there's a program.
Yeah,
I can't remember the program for that.
yeah. I try to find out here, or maybe it is recording. This recording session may be record available for them, for the user through which I logged into the GoToMeeting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be.
So maybe that Raghu or for him will ask what are the recording sessions are there. Then he can able to send you. I think so. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So that you
All
will
right.
get it up. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So
now I just need some hands-on and practice.
yes, exactly. You have to do some good hands-on with this process. And
That's right.
tomorrow we are going to start a goods movements. That is the most important, like an important concept in our MM. Okay. The goods movement is completed means around 60% of the concepts have been completed. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So we'll see so
Sounds
many
good.
goods movements according to the transactions. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see tomorrow at the same time. Okay.
All right. Good
All
deal,
right.
Ryan.
Yeah. Good day. Have
Thank
a
you very
great day.
much.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Eh,
Thanks for your
Have a,
cooperation. Yeah. Have a good day.
uh,
Thanks for
have a
your
good night.
cooperation. Have a good day.
No problem.
Yeah. Thank
Bye
you,
bye.
Robert. Bye bye.